Hello everyone, my name is Faith Mutegi and this is my platform, Parenting Conundrums. The conundrum that we are talking about and continue to talk about is the emotions. Today is about emotional intelligence. Yes, it's together with loss and grief. Reason being, within this pandemic, we have experienced different kinds of losses. And whenever you come across the word loss and grief, it's not always about the death of a loved one. It can be the loss of relationships, loss of routines, and everything else that comes along with it. Whatever we attach ourselves to, if we lose it, whether willingly or forcefully, there's always that period whereby we reminisce or we experience that aspect of loss. Like once upon a time, this used to be my life and no longer is, whether because of our own decisions or it was just away from our control. So in our previous video, we looked at loss and grief. There's this looming arm of loss and grief, and it's going to continually reach out and grasp certain routines, certain rituals, certain events. People are not going out as much as they could. Children are not able to run out and play. They're not able to see their friends. They're not able to go to church. They're not able. All those are losses. So in the video that I talked about letting your children know the different types of emotions, today we are going to look at how do they negotiate through that period to better understand emotions and how their body reacts and how they can manage their emotions. So in this case, you need to teach your children in those moments. Yes, they are anger outbursts. So you cannot fight fire with fire. When a child is angry, don't go at them when they are angry. So there is a point where they also need, these tips will also apply to you as a guardian, because you will be the mentor, you will be the blueprint, as I've mentioned in previous videos, of how to manage a crisis, how to manage a pandemic, how to control your emotions when things aren't going as planned. So an interesting thing I came across, and I don't know why this has never happened before. We are always learning. The word emotion has the word emotion in it. And in the previous video, I mentioned that when every emotion, every feeling is a form of energy. And energy is always in motion. So it has to be expressed. It has to be used in one way or the other. So we said, emotions are neither bad, good or bad. They're neither negative or positive. It's how we interpret and act out that particular emotion. So there's a connection. Whatever you think is how leads to how you feel and how you act. It's always interconnected. Now, for the children, they may have no idea what is happening to them. It's because they do not yet know what are all this. So one of the main things that they need to know is, what are the types of emotions? So now, how do they learn about their emotions? Yes, have them listed out. Let them look them up on the safely on the internet. But it's best if they write them out. You can even get a template or a printout of the different facial expressions, the smiley, the emojis that are happening. They can tell you, you can ask them how, even for the little ones, a 2-year-old, like what emotion or what do you think this character is showing. When it comes to the videos or the animations that they are watching, even the programs generally, you can ask what emotion do you see that person expressing. It can be in the books. That's why I encourage when it comes to reading materials, recreational reading materials. So if there's a character, what facial expression? So that's why as a 2-year-old can still learn about emotions even before they have read. Reason being, open up a book and then, do they look happy? Do they look sad? So you can use these big pictorial pictures, books that have more pictures than words, and then they'll gradually get the words. So don't start saying that you'll wait for them to be at teenagehood for you to start educating them about the different types of emotions. By that time, they are maximizing on the hormones that are taking control or are in their bodies. So a 2-year-old can be taught about Anger can be taught about, joy can be taught about, using the resources, whether it's animations, whether it's the books, and even you making your own faces. Like, what do I look like? So you can have that as your interactive time. So it is not too early to talk about emotions. It's not too early to talk about feelings. So the other thing, so I mentioned, you encourage them to have the vocabulary. They can write them out. You can talk about them during the family meetings, as I've always mentioned. Then they can also track their feelings, track their emotions. This is where a journal comes into place. This is where a diary comes into place. This is where a conversation comes into place. To better understand how you're processing or you're feeling during this period, why not have a diary? Yourself too, even the children. I don't know why I'm pointing at the back. Oh yes, the minions. Yes, even the children. So can you have a feeling tracker? Kind of, you can come up with your own names. But for on Monday, how did you feel? Like, what are the main feelings that you came across? By the end of the day, by the end of the week, you review and say, by the way, these are the experiences that led me to feel like this. So if children are able to track their feelings, they're able to understand that, by the way, different circumstances lead me to feel and experience different things. Which goes now to the other point. Let them know how they react. Let them understand. Explore with them how different people or you yourself react to different situations. I'm learning, yes, I'm continually learning the power of conversations with our little ones. They have never been that age before. So they are experiencing life as it is. You have been that age. We may have forgotten how we were at that age, whatever age it may be. So by the time you're telling, especially for pre-teens and teens, when you tell them to stop acting like a child, and then the next time you want them to act like a child and all that, it can become really confusing. So let them know, let them explore, and also contribute to the conversation how different people react to different situations. That's where they will get to start understanding that, by the way, when I'm talking in public, I'm not the only one who gets really nervous talking in public. I am not the only one who gets sweaty palms, maybe when you're anticipating an exam, or even talking in public or something, sweaty palms. It can be butterflies in the stomach. And someone asks, do butterflies have humans in the stomach? But that's on a light note. So let them know that, by the way, the sensations that they're having, it's not bad. They could be jealous. That's why, and it's not, you need to explain jealousy in a different, that's where the discussions comes into place. I don't want to make a long video. So for now, let them know that by the time they see somebody else's toy and they want it for themselves, jealousy, but it's how you manage that. Can you take turns? Instead of you stealing it, instead of you grabbing it from them. This is where now, when they go for a birthday party, hopefully that will be is still going on and will go on. It's one of the best things. They should not, if it's not them being the birthday boy or the birthday girl, they will not go running and grab the birthday gifts from the lady or the guy of the moment, because you'll have understood that, by the okay, that looks really nice, but it's not mine. We can talk with mom later and see how to do about that, whether it's financial management, which it's another whole conversation on conversation. So let them know how different people react to different situations. There are people who get nauseated. There are people who get pumped up. There are people who never look scared, but at the same time, things are just everywhere. By them understanding that, by the way, they're not the only ones who stammer or shrub when they're nervous, or when they see a girl, when they see a boy, they have a crush on. All those kind of scenarios is where now, this is where you explain that, by the way, it's a natural reaction for you to start drawing the map of Africa, as they say. When you come across a boy or a girl, most of the times they usually say it's the girl who draws the map of Africa when they're being tuned by the boy. So it's not a bad thing to feel shy around the opposite sex, the opposite gender. So this is where you will be getting different layers which open up to other conversations as you go on with your family meetings. Conversation, understanding upon understanding, and the time when they have to experience or they come across this boy, they'll not feel like, is there something wrong with me? They'll be like, okay, so my body, and they will know how to go about it. So certain tips that I came across of how do you manage your emotions. The children need to be educated on the different ways of handling their emotions. Remember, they have never been this age before. Therefore, we need to build the tracks. Okay? So let's see. How do they take charge of the emotions? So these are some of the tips. Breathe in. You breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. You thought you knew how to breathe. Life is interesting, isn't it? Yes. So, breathing exercises, counting to 10, walking away, being silent, thinking before speaking, ensuring that whatever you're just about to say, remember, once you say it, you cannot take it back. Which has you look out for different exercises about how to be careful with the words that you speak, or be careful, little mouth, what you say, their songs, their activities. So they need to know that, by the way, it's not a must for you to fight it out verbally or physically there and then. You can breathe. Silence is golden. And explore the situations where silence is golden. Good? So, the power of imagination. Cartoons, books, all that, they feed into a child's imagination. Life in general feeds into our imagination. So when things are not going as you wish, one of the ways, maybe you're fearful, you're scared, you're confused, you can think of a happy place. Personally, I try to think of a happy place whenever injections are in the picture. I do not like syringes. I do not like injections at all. Yes, as young as I am. So, whenever, which I'm glad is not often, I have to have an injection, most probably there will be music on my phone, most probably, favorite song, and then I take myself to a happy place. And hopefully, I will not know that I've been injected. Okay, the pain will be there. But my body will not have tensed up, it will have relaxed, kind of, and that kind of thing. So, being scared is a normal reaction. It's how you handle it. So, can they visualize a happy place? They can use music. They can use dance. Okay. There's a way you can't just say dance and then keep still. So, can they dance it out? There are situations where, by the way, to just relieve that stress, dance it out. If you don't like dancing, or you are two left feet manenos, run, exercise, do something to get that emotion, that feeling outward in a positive way. Let's say some people do chores they clean up, they clean everything up, and by the time they're done, whatever the issue was, it's done. So those are and this is where now even you as a parent, you give your own ways of, by the way, when this happens, this is usually what I do, and by that time this is all done, there are no casualties, nobody is dead, nobody is hurt, nobody is in hospital, nobody has been hurt psychologically. You have just taken your space, dealt with it, and the rest. Now there's some situations where you need to talk it out, because keeping it in and in and in, as I mentioned, pressure cooker effect. That's where we get so worried. We wonder, like, why was this? He was a good kid, and then it's because something happened, and they just kept it down. And at one point, poof, unfortunately. So, can they talk it out? If they're not able to talk it out, can they write it out? And there's power in writing. Yes, the text, but not to the offender or the person they have beef with. It's better if it's written. They can tear it up, they can burn it safely without causing fire. So they can write it out, they can talk it out, they can dance it out. They can, what have we said? We have said about, yes, you move, you exercise, and the rest. Two things, especially for the teenagers, adequate sleep and proper nutrition. Your nutrition can mess you up. If you're not eating properly, your body is just, whoosh. So anything triggers you. So proper nutrition and then adequate sleep. Because if you do not sleep, your body is not recharging. It is not taking the adequate rest. So anything also, you become irritable with the smallest of things. So sleeping, adequate sleep is important. This is where now you can put in about why you should not go to bed with your phone, which is a crime for all of us. I'm not pointing fingers. When you point one finger, three are pointing back at you. Anyway, moving on as we conclude. We need to equip our children with the strategies to manage their emotions. But before we get there, they need to understand how do they react to different situations. Because life is going to happen. Life is never consistent. So, how do they negotiate? How do they ride this roller coaster of emotions in the appropriate way without them being a bully, without them being jealous or managing their jealousy or whichever the situation? Yes, crisis, everything is up and about. Empower your child. Empower your child. And starts with giving them the knowledge about the emotions within their bodies, mainly the mind. Which is all about, even as I conclude, let them be gentle with themselves. This is where affirmations come into place. If they feel they are not worth or something, this is where their self-talk also is important, which is a topic on self-esteem, which I believe we will tackle in the coming days. So for today, I'm hoping that you have also learned a few strategies, like hiyo mambo ya kwenda kwa kitanda na simu, lala tafadhali. So in case of any questions, please do let me know. Thank you for the subscription. Kindly, Mother Tongue Influence, kindly do consider subscribing to my channel, comment, share, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.